Tre Johnson.
Okay.
We decided last week we were going to talk about Trey. There's a few names that we could have talked about in this range, but we decided on Trey because that has been like a recurring name for the Jazz at 5.
Yep.
And on top of that, his stock has seemingly been rising, even though it's hard to say he's rising because I feel like he's always been in the 5.
He's always been the top 5, top 6.
But it's just because the top 4 is so loaded, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been the biggest name for the Jazz. Let me look at his combine.
I've got it right here. 6'4" 3/4 barefoot,
which is awesome.
So he'll be right up around 6'6" when he's got shoes on, if not a little taller. 190 pounds. He's thin.
Yeah.
6'10" wingspan, 6'10" 1/4, 8'5" standing reach, and also had a very good vertical leap. What was it, 37 and a half? Before we get too far into who he is as a player.
Yes.
If you look at his body, all of that makes sense.
Yes.
Right? Like you watch, his arms are down to his knees. Like he's got super lanky arms. The 37.5-inch vertical was really surprising.
I agree.
Because you never see it on the court.
He had 7 dunks all year.
Yeah, he had 3 in the half court.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I get measurements matter. Like if you are too small, if you're Jimmer Fredette, it just like, it can be disqualifying.
Yes.
You know? There's also the opposite where it's like, you love the measurements. Do I ever actually feel them? I never once thought that Trey Johnson was the best athlete on the floor in any game I watched. He was never the best athlete on the floor, much less one of the best athletes in the draft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I watched the Kentucky game. I watched a lot of his games. I'd have to go back and even look at which I watched the Oklahoma game. It's just like, he's never the best athlete on the floor. He's probably not the best athlete on his team, despite the fact that you look at 37.5-inch vertical, get like the best shuttle or whatever it was, the wingspan, like all those things would imply like, is this dude Donovan Mitchell? It's like he's going to dunk less than Isaiah Collier. He's going to dunk less than Keontae George. And those guys aren't like crazy leapers, athletes. Like Keontae George catches 4 or 5 lobs a year, maybe.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if you're ever going to throw a lob to Trey Johnson. So if you're thinking, I looked at his numbers, I'm seeing an athlete here, I think you're going to be mistaken.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to see a lot of that outside of transition. And even then, like there were times when he had an open transition and could have dunked and like goes for the lay-in.
Yes.
Because he's not going to like easily finish on top of the rim.
I want to get into this a little bit more, specifically him using that athleticism.
Okay.
Because one of my major points I have here for him is questionable decision making, and specifically just like settling for jump shots on like almost every possession, if not every other possession. But he averaged 19.9 points, 3.1 rebounds, 2.7 assists, about 43% from the floor, 39.7% from 3, which is awesome, and then 87% from the line. He's a really good shooter, both with the ball in his hands, catch and shoot. I think especially with his size and his needing to grow as a playmaker, he'll probably slot in as a 2 in the NBA, especially with the Jazz. If they might run Collier or Sexton at the 1 and then have him at the 2. He shot 40.8% on catch and shoots. He shot higher, 41.6% when guarded, and then 39.6% when unguarded. If
Con Knippel's not the best shooter in the draft, Trey Johnson is.
Absolutely.
He is incredible.
Yeah.
Like his actual shot diet, which is a word I kind of hate, but his shot profile is better than Con Knippel's.
Yes.
Because he does so much off the dribble. He needs no space. Like, so here's what we have to explain also, because I'm not trying to compare Con Knippel to Trey Johnson, because believe it or not, Jazz fans, you can like 2 players. Like, it doesn't have to be, well, I like Con, so I hate Trey, or I like Trey, so I hate Con. Like, I like both these players a lot. I like Con probably a little bit better.
Okay.
But Trey Johnson's shooting profile is insane. Like, if he had played at Duke, the screens he would have gotten from guys like Kamen Malawash and having guys who could actually pass him the ball in good spots, I think would have been better. And we can touch on that a little bit more in a minute. But like, if he were next to Walker Kessler or somebody who just knew how to set a screen for him, and he could either get downhill or come off a screen shooting threes, he's money.
Yes.
Like he's an absolute killer. He might be the best transition 3-point shooter I've seen in a long time. Like when he's running up the floor and he just wants to pull up, he's deadly. So he's awesome. His 3-point shooting is legit. He's going to be a good 3-point shooter in the NBA. Like I think he's going to be up at 38%, 40%, like really early in his career, and he's going to stay there as long as he's in the NBA. And he's a good enough shooter that it will keep him there. And then he's at 87% from the free throw line. So like everywhere he shoots, it goes in.
Yes.
It's really nice as long as he's shooting and not trying to make layups.
Yeah. I am far from a diehard college basketball fan. I'm not tuning into every single game and know a lot about all these players dating back, but I think he is the best transition shooter I've seen since Jimmer Fredette.
44% transition threes, has NBA range. He took 52 of them, which is more than one a game, almost 2 a game. Off the dribble 3-point shooting, 38%, which is like the hardest all-star shot that there is in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like, he gets to his shot off the dribble as well as anybody in this draft, like truly as well as anybody in the draft. Better than Dylan Harper, better than Cooper Flagg, certainly better than Con Knippel, way better than VJ Edgecombe. Like, I don't know if there are a lot of guys who you're going to see, if you just watch his highlights on YouTube, like cross guys over, step back 3, and it goes in at a really high level. Like, he is going to bring late shot clock value, bailout value for whatever team drafts him, which, by the way, is a huge need for the Jazz.
Yeah.
Like, one of the reasons we've talked about Keontae George shooting 39% from the floor and 34% from the three-point line is he's tasked with taking all of those. Yes. And if it's not him, it's Jordan Clarkson, and you look like, why are those guys taking so many shots? Like, the Jazz don't have anyone who can create a shot on their own, especially in late clock situations where you're not like, well, I'm going to get to the rim here because I have 3 seconds or 5 seconds to do it. They just have to take these bailout shots, and it really hurts them.
Yeah.
If you just took them out of Keontae's diet and out of Jordan Clarkson's responsibilities and gave them to Tre Johnson, overall, your team's 3-point shooting is going to go up. And those guys' 3-point shooting probably goes up because they're not taking as many bad shots.
Yeah.
Because he's awesome at them. Like, he is going to bring instant value, which, by the way, like late game scenarios, late clock scenarios, that's where games are decided.
Yes.
And Tre Johnson can absolutely dice you up in those spots. That's where he was best. And again, the SEC was the best basketball league in college basketball this year. He led it in scoring as a freshman. Like, his scoring and his shooting are truly the real deal. There's just not a lot of places where you're like, well, that's a weakness in his shooting profile. It's awesome.
Speaking of him projecting to be an off guard in the NBA, a lot of times he was tasked with being the main guy, ball in his hand a lot for Texas. He shot 54.8% on off-screen three-pointers.
Yeah.
That is,
again,
crazy.
You put him with Walker.
Yeah.
And he's gonna cook people.
Yes.
Like, his 3-point shooting is gonna be a very high level.
Now we can get into some of the areas of improvements. Something that I wrote, which I really like this, and I think that if he can work on it, he projects to be, we can talk about comparisons in a second, but he can improve in the flow of the offense, but I think he has tremendous personal flow and feel.
Yes, he does. Absolutely. He has a rhythm onto his own.
Yes.
That can be good and that can be bad, right? Like, I think Keontae George has a little bit of that. And there is some Keontae George in Tre Johnson's game. There absolutely is. Like, he shoots much better than Keontae George does, but like the ball handling, some of the question marks coming in, like, how much complementary playmaking can he add is a question mark. Now, credit Keontae, he's become a pretty good playmaker. Actually, like, his assist numbers have climbed. He was up almost 6 this year, found a way to do it off the bench. I don't know if Tre Johnson's going to get to 5 or 6, but you're right. He has a personal rhythm of his own, and he's really comfortable in it. I wrote, because I wrote his breakdown last week, you can go back and read it. Yes. I said it looks like he plays next to players and not with players.
Yep. He
looks like he plays in the offense, not with the offense. Like, he's not reading what's going on. He's not really paying attention to what other guys are doing. So he's kind of just waiting for the ball a lot. It just looks like Tre Johnson is waiting to get the ball so he can do his thing. Now, Texas was terrible, and this is what I wanted to get into. Playing at Duke versus playing at Texas was 2 totally different systems. Like, absolutely. Duke is running NBA stuff over and over and over and has NBA guys all around him. I couldn't tell you a single other player on Tre Johnson's Texas team that's going to do anything in the NBA, maybe Europe, but like, they're running no system. Mm-mm. The coach got fired right after the year ended. It was terrible. There's also a little bit that, like, I think Tre Johnson wanted to be in a system that allowed him to do that.
True.
Right? Like, he went to a place where they were just like, yeah, Trey, you do whatever you want. Like, we talk about the Rutgers guys and Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper doing whatever they want. Tre Johnson did the exact same thing at Texas, and they didn't win.
No.
Like, I do think they made the tournament, but barely. Right? Like, because they were a 500 team in the SEC.
Yeah.
It's like, he alone did not make them a good team. And in fact, I think there were times, which is why I tell you to watch games. Well, not you, but I mean fans watch games. Because there are times he goes off the court and it's like the team operates like better as a team than when Tre Johnson's on the court. Because sometimes he's like standing in the corner clapping for the ball, and I'm just like,
there was a lot of weird body movement, like disappointed after missing a shot.
The reason you can tell his arms are so long is because they're down by his knees half the game. Because he's so frustrated. His body language is so bad that he's just like running back up the court with his hands down.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, ugh. Okay, like, you're going to have you're going to a bad basketball team. If you're being drafted in the top 6, you're going to a bad basketball team. Like, I think the Wizards would make a lot of sense for him. He's going to have some terrible body language playing with some horrible Wizards teams that I think would be really disappointing. And you've got to clean that up if you're going to be a leader.
And this is the reason why I think he would fit a lot better with the Jazz instead of like a Hornets or a Washington, because I think that there is so much untapped potential there. But I think that, one, he needs to align with good coaching, but you need to have good coaching in the first place. Because there is the body language, there is questionable decision-making stuff, there is a lack of effort sometimes on the defensive end. But all of those things are just like a mindset switch, more or less.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah, you would hope so.
I would hope so.
One thing I do want to say is I think that he could benefit from a sort of Keontae George rookie season kind of thing, because I think that he is a capable passer and he could become a plus playmaker. He makes good reads a lot of the time, pick and roll, dumps, skips. I think there's potential there.
He is a strong passer. Like, he has the ability to actually make the passes. Some guys aren't even strong enough to make some of these passes. He is, and because he's so tall and has long arms, he can like do the two-handed overhead pass and really throw it across the court, which is valuable. I agree with you when he does get into the paint, which is rare.
Yeah.
He does make good dump off passes. It doesn't even have to be to like the pick and roll player. So it's not just like the obvious pocket pass. Sometimes it's guys cutting to the basket and he finds them for easy finishes. There is more playmaking there. And I would bet if he liked his teammates more or trusted them more, he would have found them.
Yeah.
So if that is Walker, if that's Lowry, if that's John Collins or whoever, I think he will become a better passer at the NBA level than he was and running an actual NBA system. I think will be good. But I do think most of his passes are escape passes. It's not really a thing we talk about a lot, but it's like he's not anticipating what the defense is doing and beating the defense. He's like, caught the ball, I'm going to shoot. Oh, the shot's not there. Okay, let me get to my next shot. Okay, that's not there. Oh, no, I'm double teamed. There's 6 seconds left. Let me jump and throw a pass.
Yeah.
He's good at that, but he's not like breaking down the defense with his passing, which scares me a little bit. So I don't think he offers like a lot of complimentary, like, run the offense stuff. But I would like to see him run more pick and roll. He might actually be pretty good at it.
And let's get into that a little bit, talk about decision-making, putting himself into tough situations. And then ultimately that all comes together with his finishing and not only lack of efficiency there, but lack of actually ever really doing it. He shot 51.4% at the rim, which is not very good. I wrote that he often settles for fadeaways and tough shots when he's cut off. Whether that be in the mid-range or down near the block area. Like you talked about, if he's not making a last second, I need to pass here, then he's throwing up a bad shot.
Yep. A lot of, and again, it's why I wouldn't even like, there are things on YouTube where it's like full game highlights, but they cut out all the misses. So it's just the makes. It's like, no, you got to go and watch the whole games. You got to go back and see like how often he's just like taking crap shots.
Yeah.
Like doesn't trust his teammates, gets to the mid-range and just kind of takes a bad shot or takes some really tough threes that don't matter. And then, man, you watch a lot of games. It's like, did he go to the free throw line once? Like, did he actually get there? And the problem is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different times this season, he failed to get to the free throw line at all. There were 22 games. He got there 4 or less. Like, for how many threes he takes, like he should draw a foul on a 3 a game.
Yeah.
And honestly, like he should be that level of dangerous as a 3-point shooter with how bad college defenders are that he just got to the free throw line by you're running off the screen and stop and pull up in front of you and draw a bunch of free throws that way. He had 4 games where he shot 10 or more, but yeah, man, like the free throw rate is terrible, which is that's easy points. Like that's how you got to score in the NBA. That's what the best scorers do. So he rarely ever got to the free throw line, which indicates some craft stuff. And then it's just the ability to get to the paint and then actually draw fouls and draw bodies in with you. And that's the other part we talked about is like athleticism not ever actually showing up on the floor. Like he feels all of 190 pounds, if not less.
Yes.
Like he just gets pushed off of his spot. He can't get to one of the reasons he can't get to the rim is because he can't go in a straight line because he can't go through people.
No.
So he's got to go around everybody. And oftentimes, like you're looking at the basket right in front of you and he's trying to turn the corner and the turn never happens. So he just gets forced further and further and further away from the basket, which is what Keontae George did his first year.
Yes.
And then he's throwing a lot of like tough angle bank shots, which is part of the reason why his field goal percentage isn't super high, despite the fact that he's an elite 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
And like my fear watching him is that like this is a guy who's going to be 41% from the floor, 38% from 3 his whole career. Like never going to get up to 45% from the floor and is going to realize like The best shot I take is a 3 every time. It never makes sense for me to go into the paint because I don't score it as high a rate, and it's much harder. So I'm going to be low 40s, high 30s shooter, which is like where the Buddy Hield comps really come in, and I see a ton of it.
Yes.
He's better. He's a way better player as a freshman than Buddy Hield was at Oklahoma. Don't get me wrong, but like Buddy Hield was a 6 overall pick, elite 3-point shooter, still does that. But offensively, he's a one-trick pony.
Yeah. For my comparison, the same way that we talked about, like Ace Bailey could be Kevin Durant on the absolute high end, which is out of the picture now. We find out that he's 6'7".
Yeah.
I wrote James Harden, and I don't think he'll ever be the playmaker that James Harden is. Even if he ends up being the number one offensive guy on a team, I don't think he'll get more than 5-6 assists ever.
No, he's not going to be triple-double guy ever.
So I wrote that as like absolute high end, the same way like I said, for Ace KD. But more realistically, I have him as like a Tyler Hero, Norman Powell kind of guy.
I was thinking like Malik Monk without the playmaking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which like Malik Monk's a good player. Malik Monk, I think, won a title with the Lakers, or maybe he came to that team after and was like, he's a good 6-man. He's really good with the Kings right now. He's like your third best offensive player. But we haven't even talked about Trey's defense, which is like it's the worst.
It's really bad. And it kind of sucks because again, he's thin, so like you'd expect him to get pushed around a little bit, but unlike with VJ, who has that wingspan as well, who uses his athletic tools, and VJ isn't the biggest guy either. Trey just doesn't use his length. I feel like I didn't really see that at all.
He's not jumping passing lanes. He's never blocking shots. The leaping ability and the wingspan and the quick shuttle speed would be like, this dude's going to jump a passing lane and get a transition dunk a game. It's like never happens. He doesn't chase guys well. Like, he chases guys because it's his job, and like that's just part of your job as a guard is to chase guys around screens and make it hard and stay close. He doesn't stay close. So if you come off a screen, you've got 3 feet because he's that far behind you because he's not playing that hard. He gets lost in the corners. He doesn't close out well. His effort is low. He doesn't defensive rebound. He doesn't do multiple actions defensively. Like, he gets beat one-on-one all the time. Like, there are crazy offensive possessions. Step back, crossover, behind the back dribbled into his 3. Great, 3 points, awesome, impossible shot. Gives up a layup on the other end like he didn't even care. He's like, well, I did my job on the other end. Just scored offensively. And like, if you're looking at fit with the Jazz, it's like really tough because Keontae's already a terrible defensive player. Bryce is not a good defensive player. It's like, it's going to be really hard to buy. He's going to have to totally change who he is offensively. And like, some guys do, but like, it's kind of a myth that every player is a bad defensive player. Like, they're bad at the NBA because the NBA has so many tricks and the guys are so good. But like, you can tell the guys who are trying. You can tell the guys who care. Like, VJ cares. You can watch VJ play, and there's actually like some effort there. He's not elite, but he's going to get better. We just talked about Con Knipple. Like, the physical tools aren't there. He really battles. Like, he's trying every single possession. Trey doesn't try. More often than not, Tre Johnson's just simply not trying. And there's some early games in the season that I watched where it's like, okay, he's given some effort. By the end of the year, it was gone. He just did not care anymore. And it was just like, it was kind of sick. It kind of made you sick to watch. It's like, dude, you're too good. You're too talented. You have too many physical tools to be this awful on the defensive end, but he's awful.
From a front office / coaching standpoint, I think Trey could benefit from being with a team like the Jazz. But from a actual roster construction, I think he fits in Washington really well. Because like you said, the Jazz are a terrible defensive team, and he does not add anything on that end. And the Wizards were the second worst team in the league. Of course, they don't have a good defense, but they have guys like Bilal Coulibaly, Alex Sarr, who project to be good defenders. So that could cover that up a little bit for him. I think that Trey is tremendously gifted offensively, and I think that he even has a lot of room to grow there, especially in the playmaking aspect, to point one area out. But I just don't know how well he would fit with the Jazz.
He's going to score in the NBA.
Yes.
No question about it. He's going to increase your 3-point shooting. No question about it. He's going to give you some bailout shooting, which is really valuable. I'm curious how much winning he's going to do. In all honesty, I'm just curious if he's going to be a winning player. And that might just be purely situational. And that's why the draft is so hard. He gets on the right team where he buys in and everyone's on board and he starts trying a little bit harder defensively and the tools come together and the spacing helps him and actually his athleticism allows him to get to the rim. It's awesome. It's great. But like, there's a real chance if he goes to the wrong team and never comes together and he's just a 3-point shooter and who cares? He's just a losing player. Because he likes shooting his threes and he doesn't like doing anything else. So that's the tricky part about him. And I actually think like the scoring is better than anything Con Knipple does, I guess, because it's, he's doing it at a truly elite level. I think people are going to think it's the opposite. I think it's far more likely that Trey Johnson becomes a specialist in the NBA than Con Knipple.
Wow. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I see what you mean.
People are going to be like, well, Con's just going to be kind of your typical like white guy shooter. You know what I mean? That we see across the NBA. I don't think that's the case. Like I think his passing is too good. On top of his elite shooting, and his playmaking out of the pick and roll is too good. Mm-hmm. His ability to beat guys off the dribble just to get to the nail and make decisions from there is too good. Like I think there's a real chance he's a better ball in hand overall offensive player than what Tre Johnson is.